The nature of adultery. The Gospel of Mary. Will matter then be utterly destroyed or not? The Saviour replied, every nature, every moulded form, every creature exists in and with each other. They dissolve again into their own proper root, for the nature of matter is dissolved into what belongs to its nature. Anyone with 2 ears able to hear should listen. Then Peter said to him, you have been explaining every topic to us. Tell us one other thing. What is the sin of the world? The Saviour replied, there is no such thing as sin. Rather, you yourselves are what produces sin when you act in accordance with the nature of adultery, which is called sin. For this reason, the good came among you, pursuing the good which belongs to every nature. It will set it within its root. Then he continued, he said, this is why you get sick and die, because you love what deceives you. Anyone who thinks should consider these matters. Matter gave birth to a passion which has no image, because it derives from what is contrary to nature. A disturbing confession then occurred in the old body. That is why I told you, become content at heart. All nature dissolves into its own root, that is a resolution into dust. The word root is used twice in the text. For this reason the good came among you, pursuing the good which belongs to every nature. It will set it within its root. Here, the root of perishable matter is contrast with the proper root of a person's true spiritual nature, which the good will establish. There is no such thing as sin. Rather, you yourselves are what produces sin when you act in accordance with the nature of adultery. That is, there is no such thing as the transgression of the law. Sin is described as the nature of adultery. The disciples themselves produce sin by acting in accordance with the nature of adultery. To produce sin means that physical principle of the animal nature, which is the cause of all its diseases, death, and resolution into dust, inasmuch as this evil principle pervades every part of the flesh. The animal nature is called sinful flesh, that is, flesh full of sin. Sin, I say, is an equivalent expression for human nature. The flesh produces sin, which brings forth death. See James chapter 1, verses 13 to 15. This is why you get sick and die, because you love what deceives you. Anyone who thinks should consider these matters. This is why you get sick and die. Those physical effects produced by sin, which Paul calls sin that dwells in me. People's own material bodies deceive them and lead them to a fatal love of perishable material nature, which is the source of the passions as well as physical suffering and death. True knowledge can never be based upon unreliable senses. Matter gave birth to a passion which has no image, because it derives from what is contrary to nature. In the Gospel of Thomas, in saying 40, Jesus said, a grapevine has been planted outside of the Father, but being unsound it will be pulled up by its roots and destroyed. To say that passion has no image means that it is not part of the Father's planting, or not a true reflection of the good. Your eyes are too pure to look on evil, and you cannot tolerate wrongdoing. For thou art not a God that has pleasure in wickedness, neither shall evil dwell with thee. The foolish shall not stand in thy sight.